A woman who always spends time alone is very dangerous. You see, in a world that constantly demands attention, approval, and validation, a woman who thrives in solitude is a force to be reckoned with. Why? Because she doesn't seek permission. She doesn't need distractions. She's not afraid of silence. And that makes her unstoppable. Think about it. Most people can't even sit alone for 5 minutes without reaching for their phone, scrolling mindlessly, or drowning themselves in noise. But this woman, she embraces the quiet. She walks alone, not because she has to, but because she chooses to. And in that solitude, she builds something most people will never have: inner strength. A woman who spends time alone is learning, growing, strategizing. She is sharpening her mind, setting goals, and executing plans while the world is busy chasing temporary pleasures. She doesn't fear loneliness because she knows that solitude is the birthplace of power. In her silence, she hears her own voice loud and clear, free from the opinions, judgments, and limitations others try to impose on her. While others seek validation, she seeks mastery. While others are distracted, she is focused. While others wait for an opportunity, she creates one. And when she steps into the world, she does so with unshakable confidence, not because she needs to prove anything to anyone, but because she has already proven everything to herself. That's the kind of woman who changes the game. That's the kind of woman who commands respect without saying a word. That's the kind of woman who builds an empire while others are busy seeking attention. So, if you're a woman who enjoys her own company, don't ever let society make you feel like something is wrong with you. You're not alone. You're in training, you're not isolating, you're elevating. And when the time comes, you will emerge not just as a woman, but as a force of nature that no one saw coming. Stay powerful, stay dangerous. The world has no idea what's coming. When we think about an unstoppable woman, we envision someone who is relentless in her pursuit of greatness, someone who doesn't stop until she reaches her goals. But the true power of a woman who spends time alone goes far beyond just sheer determination. It's about being self-sufficient, unaffected by distractions, and able to keep moving forward regardless of the external noise. This kind of woman is unstoppable because she knows exactly who she is and what she wants. A woman who embraces solitude is not weak or lost. Far from it. She is incredibly strong. In fact, the solitude she chooses is a tool for growth. It's in this quiet space where she learns to trust her own instincts, to listen to the whisper of her intuition that is often drowned out by the chaos of the world. She doesn't need external validation to feel worthy because she has already validated herself. The peace she finds in her own company fuels her inner fire and empowers her to rise above any obstacle that comes her way. While others are distracted, seeking external approval, or constantly surrounded by people trying to influence them, this woman has mastered the art of self-reliance. She doesn't need a crowd to cheer her on. In fact, the noise of the crowd often hinders progress. Instead, she thrives in moments of stillness, and in those moments, she connects deeply with her purpose. She knows that no one can drive her to success except for herself. Being alone allows her to reflect, recalibrate, and set new goals. She can focus entirely on her vision, strategize without interruptions, and take steps toward her dreams with laser-like precision. In solitude, she recharges her energy, understands her weaknesses, and strengthens her resolve. This is where she builds resilience, shaping her mind and spirit to withstand any challenge life throws her way. When you can conquer your own thoughts, nothing can stop you. An unstoppable woman is someone who has embraced the discomfort that comes with being alone. Many people fear isolation because they believe it signifies failure or loneliness. But for this woman, being alone is not a sign of defeat. It's a conscious choice to empower herself. She understands that growth doesn't happen when we're comfortable. It happens when we push through the hard times, the moments of doubt, and the quiet periods of self-reflection. Solitude allows her to be unapologetically herself. She doesn't waste time trying to fit in or conform to societal expectations. She walks her own path, and this is what makes her dangerous. The world is full of people who seek validation, approval, and the constant reassurance of others. But the woman who spends time alone doesn't need any of that. She doesn't follow the crowd. She leads. She is unapologetic in her independence and strong in her convictions. She has an unwavering belief in herself. And that confidence radiates from her. When you walk into a room with the quiet strength of a woman who has spent time alone, people can sense it. They can feel the energy shift. You don't have to say a word. Your presence alone makes an impact. In her solitude, she learns how to set boundaries, how to say no when it's necessary, and how to protect her energy. This allows her to create a life that aligns with her values and goals, free from distractions. She builds her life on her own terms, and that's why she is unstoppable. Nothing and no one can deter her from her mission. She is unstoppable because she is not waiting for anyone else to approve of her choices. She makes decisions based on what feels right to her, and she takes action no matter how long it takes, because she understands that success is not immediate. It's earned through consistent effort and inner strength. This woman does not let anyone or anything shake her focus. She is so rooted in her purpose and so driven by her vision that even the toughest challenges become stepping stones, not roadblocks. She knows that her journey may not always be easy, but her inner strength, honed in the quiet moments of solitude, ensures that she can handle whatever comes her way. In the end, a woman who spends time alone and embraces her own power becomes unstoppable, not because she never faces challenges, but because she has the unwavering belief and the internal fortitude to push through them and keep going. Fearlessness is the defining trait of a woman who spends time alone. It's not that she doesn't experience fear, everyone does, but rather she has learned how to navigate and conquer it. Fear is often seen as something to avoid, something that holds us back, but for her, fear becomes a tool, a challenge to be overcome, and in doing so, she grows stronger with every step. A woman who embraces solitude does not allow fear to dictate her actions. Instead, she faces it head on and uses it as fuel to propel herself forward. Being alone is often misinterpreted as a sign of weakness or loneliness, but this woman knows better. She has found strength in silence and power in solitude. While the world around her may be in constant motion, she is rooted in a deep sense of self-awareness. It is through this connection with herself that she learns to navigate the uncertainty of life with calm and confidence. Fear is something we all face when stepping into the unknown, but when she is alone, she learns to separate the fear from reality. She sees the fear, acknowledges it, but refuses to let it control her. She stands firm in her decisions, knowing that fear is just a temporary emotion that passes as long as she doesn't allow it to take root. The fear of judgment, rejection, or failure can paralyze most people, but not her. She has spent time alone to understand who she truly is and what she wants. She has learned that the opinions of others are just noise, and their judgment doesn't define her. What matters most is her own belief in herself. When you spend time alone, you become your own strongest ally. You stop seeking validation from others and start to trust your own voice. This self-trust is what makes her fearless. She knows that no matter what challenges come her way, she has the strength to handle them on her own. Being alone also gives her the opportunity to confront her deepest fears. Many people avoid the quiet because it brings up uncomfortable emotions or unresolved issues. But the woman who spends time alone knows that growth happens when you confront these fears, not when you avoid them. In those moments of solitude, she faces the parts of herself she might have ignored or suppressed. She is not afraid of her own vulnerabilities or imperfections. In fact, she embraces them because they make her who she is. This fearless self-acceptance allows her to walk through life with an unwavering sense of confidence. In solitude, she also learns the importance of taking risks. Fear of failure often holds people back from pursuing their dreams or stepping outside of their comfort zones. But a woman who enjoys her own company knows that taking risks is essential for growth. She has spent time alone to understand the value of failing forward, to understand that mistakes are not signs of weakness, but opportunities to learn and evolve. She has learned that the greatest rewards come from stepping into the unknown, from pushing herself beyond what she thought was possible. And because she has learned to embrace her own company, she has the courage to take those risks without needing anyone else's approval. Fearless women are often seen as bold, daring, and brave, but they are also deeply grounded in self-awareness. The woman who spends time alone is not reckless or impulsive. She is calculated and intentional. She uses her solitude to reflect, strategize, and plan. In the quiet, she can hear her own inner voice guiding her toward the best decisions. She is fearless because she has done the work to strengthen her mind, body, and spirit. She has faced her fears, overcome them, and emerged stronger as a result. The woman who spends time alone is dangerous because she cannot be easily swayed or intimidated. Fear has no power over her because she has learned to dance with it, to rise above it, and to use it as a tool for empowerment. She is fearless, not because she never feels afraid, but because she knows that fear is just an emotion, and emotions do not control her actions. She is in charge, she knows her worth, trusts her abilities, and faces the world with courage, knowing that whatever comes her way, she has the strength to handle it. This is what makes her truly dangerous. A woman who is fearless is a woman who cannot be stopped. Empowerment is a force that grows within a woman who consistently spends time alone. When the world is loud and constantly trying to impose its expectations and definitions, she retreats into solitude not as a sign of weakness, but as a powerful choice to reconnect with her own strength. In the quiet of her own company, she finds the courage to rise above society's demands and start living life on her own terms. Her empowerment does not come from outside sources. It comes from deep within, and it is this inner power that makes her truly dangerous. A woman who is empowered by her solitude has learned to rely on herself. She no longer looks for external validation to feel worthy or capable. Society often teaches women to seek approval from others, be it from partners, family, or peers. The constant quest for affirmation can dilute a woman's sense of self and cloud her true potential. But the woman who spends time alone has learned to validate herself. She knows that the opinions of others are just that, opinions, not truths. She understands her worth without needing anyone else to tell her she is valuable. This shift in perspective is the foundation of her empowerment. When she no longer seeks permission to exist as she is, she opens the door to a life that is authentically her own. The power that comes from solitude is transformative. By spending time alone, this woman is free to reflect on her dreams, her desires, and her goals. She is not caught up in the noise of others' ambitions or the pressure to conform. In her solitude, she creates a life that aligns with her own values rather than trying to meet external expectations. She chooses what serves her, what brings her joy, and what feeds her soul. This kind of empowerment comes from making decisions that are in alignment with her true self rather than living a life dictated by what others think she should do. In the quiet of solitude, she gains clarity. There is no rush, no distraction, no need to constantly respond to the outside world. She is able to assess her strengths and weaknesses, confront her fears, and build a strategy for her future. She recognizes that empowerment comes not from an external event or achievement, but from the ability to choose her path with confidence. Her time alone allows her to tune into her own inner wisdom, to hear the whispers of her intuition, and to take aligned action without hesitation. This clarity of vision is what makes her so dangerous to anyone who underestimates her. The more time she spends alone, the more connected she becomes to her authentic self. She develops a deep sense of self-trust, which is the cornerstone of empowerment. This self-trust is powerful because it is unshakable. While others may be influenced by the opinions or judgments of those around them, she stands firm in her own truth. She no longer second-guesses her decisions or seeks reassurance from others. She trusts herself to make the right choices, even when faced with uncertainty. This confidence comes not from arrogance, but from a deep understanding of her own abilities and worth. This empowerment also frees her from the limitations of comparison. Many women are taught to compare themselves to others, whether it's their appearance, accomplishments, or lifestyle. This constant comparison can create a sense of inadequacy and a lack of self-worth. But the woman who spends time alone has learned that comparison is irrelevant to her. She doesn't need to measure her success against anyone else's journey because she knows her own path is uniquely hers. This understanding allows her to celebrate her own achievements without diminishing the accomplishments of others. She rises above competition because her only focus is on her own growth and evolution. When a woman is empowered by her time alone, she becomes unapologetically herself. She doesn't try to mold herself into someone she is not. She doesn't conform to society's standards of what a woman should look like, act like, or be. She embraces her uniqueness and understands that her individuality is her greatest strength. The power she gains from solitude allows her to live life authentically and fearlessly, unapologetic for who she is. This authenticity is magnetic. It draws people to her because she exudes a sense of inner peace and confidence that others find inspiring. The woman who is empowered by her solitude is not bound by the limitations or expectations of the world around her. She is free to create, to explore, and to grow. Her empowerment lies in her ability to step into the world as her true self, to carve out her own space, and to do so without asking for permission. This freedom is dangerous because it cannot be controlled. She is unstoppable, unapologetic, and true to herself. In her time alone, she becomes a force of nature, one that cannot be contained, diminished, or ignored. She stands tall in her power, and it is this unwavering sense of empowerment that makes her dangerous to anyone who seeks to hold her back or put her in a box. A woman who spends time alone becomes a mystery to the world around her. Her silence, her solitude, and her ability to exist without needing the constant validation of others make her enigmatic. She is not defined by external labels or societal expectations, and this mystique is what makes her dangerous. While others try to fit into predefined boxes, she resists. She creates her own identity, shaping her life on her own terms without concern for the opinions of others. It's this mystery, her refusal to be easily understood, that gives her immense power. When a woman chooses solitude, she becomes a master of self-awareness. She learns to understand her thoughts, emotions, and desires without being influenced by the noise of the outside world. She is not swayed by the expectations of society, and she doesn't need to explain herself to anyone. As she spends more time alone, she learns that silence holds an extraordinary amount of power. While others speak to be heard, she speaks when it matters. Her words are measured, intentional, and impactful, making every statement she makes more significant. Her ability to keep to herself creates an air of mystery that people can't quite figure out, and that uncertainty about her intentions only adds to her allure. This mysterious aura is not an act, but a natural result of a woman who has embraced her own company. She has learned to trust herself, and in doing so, she has become the ultimate enigma. She is the kind of woman who doesn't seek approval or attention. She doesn't chase validation from the outside world. Instead, she cultivates her own inner world, a world that only a select few are allowed to see. Those who encounter her feel a sense of intrigue, unsure of where she comes from or where she is headed. There is something fascinating about a woman who is so comfortable in her own solitude that she becomes an enigma to those around her. She holds her cards close to her chest, and this sense of mystery makes others want to uncover her secrets. But it's not just the people around her who are captivated by her mystery, it's also her own self. By spending time alone, she learns who she truly is. She is not defined by the roles others expect her to play, nor is she shaped by the judgments of those who are quick to label her. In solitude, she can peel back the layers of societal conditioning and discover the truth of who she is. Free from expectations and outside influence. She discovers her strengths, her vulnerabilities, and her desires without fear of judgment. This process of self-discovery is what makes her truly dangerous, because she becomes a woman who knows herself in ways that others can never fully understand. Her mystery also makes her unpredictable. Those around her can't quite figure out what she will do next because she doesn't follow the rules that others live by. She is not bound by conventional norms or societal expectations. This unpredictability is what makes her a force to be reckoned with. She knows when to step forward and when to remain in the shadows. She doesn't rush into decisions based on external pressures. Instead, she takes her time, carefully considering every option, and when the time is right, she acts with purpose and precision. This unpredictability makes her dangerous because no one can anticipate her next move. She holds the power of surprise, and with it, she can shift the course of events without warning. Another aspect of her mystery is her ability to remain composed in any situation. While others may react impulsively, caught up in their emotions or the chaos of the moment, she remains calm and centered. This composure makes her difficult to read, and in turn, it makes her difficult to control. People often underestimate a woman who keeps to herself, assuming that her silence means weakness. But in reality, her silence is a shield that protects her from the noise of the world, allowing her to focus on her goals without distraction. This calmness under pressure is a direct result of her time spent in solitude, where she has learned to master her emotions and trust in her own judgment. A woman who spends time alone is not just mysterious to others. She is always evolving, learning, and growing, constantly discovering new aspects of her own identity. This ongoing transformation is part of the allure that surrounds her. She is never stagnant or predictable. Instead, she is a constant enigma, A woman who is always becoming more than what others expect of her. This is what makes her dangerous. Not because she is elusive, but because she is always evolving, always a step ahead, always more than what the world sees on the surface. Her mystery lies in her ability to remain true to herself while maintaining an aura of intrigue that others can't quite grasp. She doesn't need to explain herself or her actions because she knows that the power of her presence speaks louder than any words could. She has mastered the art of being seen without revealing too much. And it is this skill that those who try to understand her will never fully succeed. And that uncertainty is what makes her so dangerous. She is a woman who cannot be easily figured out, and it is this mystery that gives her a power unlike any other. A woman who spends time alone is incredibly focused, and that focus is what makes her dangerous. In a world filled with distractions, noise, and endless demands for attention, a woman who can sit in solitude, reflect, and prioritize her time is an extraordinary force. She is not easily swayed by the chaos of the world around her. Instead, she remains anchored in her purpose, determined and clear-headed. This focus is not just a trait, it's a skill she hones over time, a skill that empowers her to make decisions with precision, take action with clarity, and stay the course even when the path becomes uncertain. While many people struggle with staying focused due to the constant pull of social media, obligations, and the pressure to always be on, a woman who spends time alone has mastered the art of shutting out distractions. She understands that her energy is finite and that every moment spent on something or someone must align with her goals. She is not interested in wasting time on things that don't serve her vision or her well-being. She knows that true success and fulfillment come from a life of intention and direction, not from a life lived passively or scattered. So she chooses her actions carefully, and when she commits to something, she commits fully. This focus allows her to make significant progress toward her dreams. She does not get sidetracked by the opinions or judgments of others because her focus is unshakable. While others are busy seeking validation, she is focused on creating and building. Whether it's advancing in her career, working on a personal project, or cultivating meaningful relationships, she directs her attention solely to what is most important to her. Her priorities are clear, and she aligns her actions with them consistently. The distractions that pull others in all directions have no power over her because she is unwavering in her focus and determined to stay on track. A woman who spends time alone becomes more than just focused on her goals. She becomes focused on her personal growth and development. She knows that to truly succeed in life, she must first master herself, and so she uses her solitude to reflect, learn, and evolve. She dedicates time to self-improvement. Whether it's through reading, meditation, journaling, or simply taking time to think, she understands that every day is an opportunity to grow, and she maximizes that opportunity by keeping her attention on the things that contribute to her development. She is committed to becoming the best version of herself, and her focus ensures that she continues to move in that direction. The power of focus also extends to how she manages her time. Unlike many people who get caught up in the busyness of life, feeling like they are always doing something, yet never really getting anywhere, a woman who is focused understands the value of time. She manages her schedule with intention, carving out moments for reflection, work, rest, and play. She doesn't let her time slip away on things that don't matter. She prioritizes tasks that move her forward and helps others do the same. Her ability to make wise decisions about how she spends her time is one of the most powerful aspects of her focus. She recognizes that time is a finite resource and uses it wisely to achieve her goals.